Alright guys, welcome back to the show. I've been flat out painting all day to get this army up to date, and judging by the title you probably know that it's an Elder list review and tactics, sort of a sit and talk kind of a majigger. So this is an army that I had in 7th edition and I've just been doing a few tweaks to work it into 8th edition. So the points changes. This was I only had about 1,000 points in 7th edition that I used to run, and you only used to have 2 troops and 1 HQ and things like that. But now obviously with the change of things, I've just freshly finished painting up this Guardian unit and a second Farsi. So the list and the craft world that I've gone with is the Ulthwe craft world. I hope I said that right, Ulthwe. I'm pretty sure it's Ulthwe. And pretty much army wide gives you a 6 up feel no pain, which I actually think is pretty good. It's kind of like, you know, disgustingly resilient and all those other things, but it's a 6 up. I think that over the course of a battle, if it saves a couple of wounds on things and saves a couple of guardians here and there, it's definitely worth it, and it's really easy to remember during gameplay. So I'll go quickly through what I've decided to put in the list. Now, bearing in mind, I like the military take on Eldar, not the aspect side of things. I'm not a fan of like the bright, colourful, weird looking banshees and all that sort of stuff. I can respect anyone that does like that stuff. They are, you know, cool on paper, but the models are really outdated and I'm just not a fan of it. But if they get new models, we'll see how we go. Alright, so leading the army, speaking of new models, is Eldrad, who I've kitted out here as Eldrad. So he's going to lead my army. I'm not sure whether to make him the warlord depending on the match. He's got his 3 psychic powers and stuff, but depending on what I need the army to do, this second in charge, who is, I've just finished painting today, my Farsi. So he's a Farsi, comes this way, come with the spear, so I've just paid for the spear. Looks cool, looks like he's doing stuff, killing people. Made light, like sort of light effects on his spear in his hand. And as this craft world is psychic sort of heavy from the fluff from what I can read, then I decided to go with 2 psychics to lead it, none other than Eldrad, because obviously he's the poster boy for this army. Alright, to make up a battalion, which is, I've just finished painting these front guys today, as I said before, I've gone with 3 units of 10 guardians, all just with the shuriken catapults, and for a heavy weapons platform for all of them, I've decided to go with the scatter laser. I used the scatter laser in 7th edition and it was fine. Being extra range, extra shots, good strength. If the guardians have got to sit back for any reason or whatever, they can participate in the game. And if you're moving along, it's still hitting on 4s with 4 shots. So it's not an issue. Obviously, if they run, well that's okay. We'll just use the shuriken catapult for the gunner instead of the actual big gun. If that's what I've got to do to get in position. So that's the 3 troops choices. I'm happy with them. I decided to go with this, as you can see, like purple alien base. That wasn't focusing very well, sorry about that. To make them, because to me this is the most alien race. A lot of people say Tyranids, but I find this a lot more alien. So that makes my battalion of the 3 troops, 2 HQs. Next off in elites, I went for a unit of 5 of these big wraith guys. Did some heat effects on the end of their guns. Now I went with the Wraith Cannon because it's got a little bit extra range. I like the weapon better. It's an assault weapon, so you can still move, run, shoot it, and also the fact that you can just walk out of combat with these guys and shoot again anyway is just a good thing. So you can put them right up with the enemy and no worries about it. Tough 6, 3 wounds, 3 up save. Gonna need to break out the big gun, some weapons of the Dark Age or something like that to bloody smoke these fools, which no doubt my opponents have. So that's the elite slot. Then for fast attack, I went with, because in last edition this was my troop, focused. So I went with these Wind Riders. Now the 3 of them have got scatter lasers, once again, because I'll be sitting back out, hopefully out of range and just peppering people. So 12 strength 6 shots is good. A lot of people say shuriken catapults are the way to go now. I don't like the idea of getting close with something like this. This is something more I'd have supporting a backline, supporting some sort of unit and grabbing an objective late game with their high movement. So that's a fast attack. Obviously heavy support. I've got 3 of these batteries. I love these things, I love the model, and in the new edition I like how it plays out. So you get 3 of them as one choice, which I've got the 3, and then they can separate when the game starts, so the 3 different targets. For kill points it might not be so optimal, but hey, who cares. The good thing about these is I think in this edition people need artillery, things that can hit things out of line of sight, and this is a cheap option for artillery. Like, it's D6 shots at strength 6, and anything that's you roll a 6 to wound is rending. But even just like if you're playing against guardsmen or something and that, removing them even without the rend, having a strength 6 gun, you're wounding them on 2, so you're going to remove them. So lots of peppered shots, and they're range 48, so you can sit way out of the way, which is pretty cool. Alright, then my second heavy support, got this guy. Now you might be wondering why the canopies aren't on, is because I bought this second hand off a dude, and it didn't come with canopies, so I had to make do by using lighting effects and making them look like ghosts in there. Just gone with the shuriken catapults and the big gun on this one, because it's going to be sitting back and tank hunting, giant monster hunting, that sort of stuff. That'll be the plan for that. And then finally in the list, to get my big guys up, I've painted up a wave serpent and put the 2 bright lancers and the shuriken cannon, because it's going to be my wraith guys in it, so I might as well go with the theme of extra anti-tank shots. Alright, so that's what's in the list, and this comes in at 1250 points with a few upgrades on the vehicles. So I will be taking it up to 1500 at some point, but I'll have a few games to see what it's lacking. So some of the strategies and stuff that I'll be using for the list. So first off, the big strategy that stood out to me was, I'm just having a look now, I think it's the webway strike, yeah. So I would probably, using the webway strike, put 2 of these units. I'll use the 3 command points, no problem, put 2 of them in, because I think being able to jump out, near someone straight into rapid fire range in objective games and that'll be something I do nearly every game. So webway strike is one of the first stratagems that popped out to me. I really like the idea of it, and because I don't go with aspect warriors or anything like that, these are the guys I'm going to be using. You can also use the other one that, where is it? Cloud strike, to put a vehicle in. So depending on what you're facing, if they've got a massed amount of anti-infantry, you can put your infantry hidden away, or say if they've got a heap of anti-tank and you're worried about not getting first turn or whatever and you're going to strike, you can put these big things in there. So that's the first one. There's a few other ones, like I think matchless agility, where you can move 6 automatically is really good. So if you've got to get to an objective, there's one where you can run after it. So early game, trying to keep these guys out of the way and then bringing them in turn 3, turn 4 to claim objectives and get in close and shoot people is probably what I want to do with them. Whereas everything else in the army is hard hitting. So that's a couple of them. The other one I did like as well is the discipline of the Black Guardians. 1 command point. You know, if you're really trying to shoot shit out of something, you know, you can pay that 1 command point. Maybe you're not near like a Farseer to get the re-rolls or anything like that, and you've got to use that. Alright, so that's sort of how I'm looking at using the troops. Hide them in the webway, jump out and shoot things close up, hopefully get some rending hits and that, and some scatter shots depending on what the case is. Right, so for the HQs, one of them I've decided will be sort of sitting back in a battlefield role, like with the Vol support batteries and these things. And what I'll be giving to them is, so the second in charge, this guy, or he may be the warlord sometimes, I've given him guide and fortune. So pretty much the reason I've done that is he's going to be purely using re-rolls on something and then trying to target something to get re-roll wounds. That's just his whole job role, is just to support my heavy weapons, whether it be whatever I need to use to fire, whatever's the most optimal thing, whether it's a tank or my support battery or other things like that, he'll be the one that's supporting them. And then for Eldrad, I've gone with, I think it was, where were we? more attacking. So he's going to have Doom to reroll the failed wounds. He may have Guide as well, but I'm also going to give him Executioner. Because then if I want to take something out, I can target a unit and hit it with Executioner and Smite. And also, you know, he's going to be up there with these guys, which is why he's going to have... Did I say Doom or Guide? I think it was Guide. Correct me if I'm wrong. Either one. Either rerolls hit or rerolls to wound. And then Executioner. So, Doom and Guide on him as well. So they both have Doom and Guide, sorry, and he'll also have Executioner. So he becomes a bit more of a combat guy, and he'll probably go with these guys into battle to reroll hits, reroll wounds. So that'll sort of be the battlefield role. Eldari can also fight a little bit in combat. He's got a 3-up save, and his stuff's not too bad. A lot of psychic powers and stuff. I wouldn't want him directly in combat all the time, but if he gets in there because he's going to be going up with these guys, that's not an issue. I'll go with it. Alright. Obviously the Vol support battery, I keep calling them that because I think last edition that it was. They also have Vol's Might, which is another one where if they're within 6 of each other, you can give them a reroll 1 wound. So once again as well, if you aren't able to use, say I've got to put the rerolls on this, Doom on these guys, and he can't use it because he can't use the same psychic power twice, I might put the Vol's Might on these. So there's ways around getting rerolls, utilising your psychic powers and stratagems. I am also thinking of getting a second, what are you called again? It'll come to me, Fire Prism. So that I can use the stratagem where they get to reroll hits and reroll wounds. And then, so that pretty much covers most of it. Anti-tank hunting. Also like in this here, that's where they're going to go. So Eldari, these guys, jump in there and pretty much is going to zoom them, shove them down the enemy's throat. This Farsi is going to sit back with these 2 heavy support choices and guide and help them target and blow shit away, and maybe even if he needs to get in combat. The bike squad is pretty much just to shoot some heavy weapons from long range with their scatter lasers and then sort of move on objectives later on if they need to or whatever, but just really staying back out of the battle and just providing some extra shots. And as I said with the Guardians, 2 of them will probably go in the Webway portal. And here's one other thing, which was, where was it? The Celestial Shield. So another thing I was thinking is if I've got to have one of these guys on the field, I might use the Celestial Shield when someone shoots at them, and then the other possibility is maybe give them one of the Psychus Fortunes, and then they've got a 4-up Invon and a 5-up Feel No Pain rather than the 6-up. So it might just keep them on the battlefield longer. I know I'm investing a lot in Guardians, but they're probably my favourite model in the army and I want them to work. So that pretty much rounds up the army at 1250. If you have anything else you want to add to the list or anything that you think might help me, taking into account that I'm not much of a fan of the Exarchs, possibly War Walkers, Wraith Knights, all that sort of stuff, I might consider putting in. But yeah, tell me about your list, tell me if Guardians work for you or not. If you like this, like and subscribe to the channel, and also if you want to see these guys in battle on Tuesday, just leave a comment and we might run them on Tuesday and give them a test run. Alright.